The death of Kasen Ashford hit like an orbital strike. Every feed carried the fire in Geneva, the crater, the glass stone where an untraceable bomb had erased Earth's ambassador. No remains, no funeral, nothing left to bury. Memorials burned bright across the systems. Politicians wept on cue. Soldiers raised glasses in silence. Some cursed the stars for killing the one man who wouldn't kneel. But Kasen Ashford wasn't dead. He was buried under the Atlantic in a steel coffin no satellite could see. The Atlantic Bastion. It was the oldest fortress humanity had. In its cold halls, Kasen stripped away the diplomat's skin and put the soldier back on. Only 20 souls in all of Earth knew the truth. His successor, Ambassador Lyra Valen, played her role to perfection. Her grief was real. She'd lost her friend to the shadows. And she knew he was still out there, being reforged for a war no one dared name. The galaxy thought Kasen Ashford was gone, and that was the point. Kasen Ashford had not been chosen by chance. His entire life had been an audition he hadn't known he was giving. Soldier, diplomat, survivor of wars that had broken men stronger than him, he carried the reputation of a man who would not bend or break. That defiance drew the eye of those that lived behind the curtain of nations. They were not a government, not a council, but a covenant of ghosts. Spymasters, war architects, the kind of leaders history never wrote down. Their purpose was singular, to ensure humanity would never again be at the mercy of greater powers. They called themselves the Obsidian Accord. They would not give Kasen orders. They would only feed him intelligence, whispers no one else could gather. The choices, the wars, the blood, that would be his decision. But the one thing they burned into him: if you cross a line, and those lines are very wide, you will be replaced. We understand death, assassinations, collateral damage, and everything we know that you must become. Just know there are things you should never do. Once they were certain he understood. A holovid flickered to life before him, an image so vast it seemed to fill the room. "The Widowmaker," one of the Accord's voices said, distorted through the speakers. "Your command, your myth, your burden." The Widowmaker was not a ship. She was a monster. 2 kilometers of matte black hull crouched in Dock 7 of Armstrong Ring, a silhouette so vast it seemed to devour the stars around her. To the untrained eye, she looked like a warship. To Kasen Ashford, walking her silent decks, she looked like a verdict. Her armor drank the light, ridged and jagged as though the void itself had grown teeth. Spine-mounted railguns split her length, each one capable of piercing capital hulls in a single shot. Missile silos lay buried beneath armored shutters. Flak batteries and autocannons lined her flanks, layer after layer of defenses. A fortress built not to fight battles, but to end them. The hangars stretched like cities beneath her skin. She could cradle 3 full fighter wings within her belly, launch recon craft to vanish into enemy skies, or unleash gunboats and heavy dropships to carve footholds on burning worlds. The Widowmaker was an arsenal disguised as a shadow. At maximum strength, she could house 5,000 souls. Entire wings of pilots, engineers enough to keep the beast alive. Medics, officers, analysts, intelligence cells, and killers of every breed. Her mess halls could feed armies. Her barracks could cradle whole regiments. But now she was hollow. The lights of her lower decks burned cold and empty, sealed corridors echoing with nothing but the hum of systems and the footfalls of skeleton crews. Kasen Ashford wasn't building an army. He was building Reaper teams, hunters who moved without warning, bled without hesitation, and killed without remorse. Crews trained not for battlefields, but for the shadows in between. They would carry no rank, no insignia, and no names. Only helmets, only masks. Men and women who would descend like death itself when Earth's wrath was demanded. The Widowmaker was their cathedral, their grave, their promise. Kasen stood on her bridge, looking out at the void as though daring it to blink. He understood what this ship was. Not a vessel, but a weaponized myth, one that would leave scars on history. Chapter 2, Recruitment. He started with pilots, wolves who could carve the void. Lieutenant Kara Miles, call sign, Spectre. She'd flown knife fighters through Saturn's lightning storms, dodging bolts that melted cruisers. Kasen found her in a simulator pit, helmet on, crushing records that had stood for decades. "Why me?" she asked. "Because you already know you don't have a choice," Kasen said. She didn't argue. Malik Stiles, convict, engineer, genius. A man who could make a reactor sing or turn it into a bomb depending on the drink. Kasen found him behind bars, hands black from stolen power cells. "You want me to build miracles?" Malik smirked. No, Kasen replied. I want you to keep this monster alive when it shouldn't be. Dr. Alira Cade, exiled, branded for her work in human-machine fusion, her research burned, her name spat on. She looked at Kasen with eyes like a scalpel. You want soldiers who don't break? No. Kasen corrected. I want soldiers who make gods bleed. She smiled like she'd been waiting her whole life to hear that. One by one, he pulled them from the wreckage. Outlaws, ghosts, predators, not saints, not patriots, wolves who understood the dark. When he gave them their helmets, he gave them their creed. You are not names. You are not faces. You are the Widowmakers. Chapter 3, Baptism by Fire. Their first trial wasn't training. It was war. The colonies on the rim screamed for help. Settlements burning, families butchered, precision strikes. This had the stench of the council all over it. But nothing could be proven yet. When they dropped from fold space, the enemy was waiting, and Kasen saw the truth instantly. These weren't raiders. This was a fleet. Disciplined, drilled, lethal. Council soldiers hiding under pirate paint. Helmets on, Kasen ordered. Voices flattened, faces vanished. The soldiers of the Widowmaker became specters. Kara's fighters carved through enemy wings like blades through silk. Malik drove the carrier past sane limits, making the Widowmaker dance like a beast half her size. Alira's nanotech sealed wounds in steel, reknitting hull and fire. Kasen stood at the center, steady as iron. Cripple their flagship, prepare the strike team for boarding. I need answers. Boarding pods shot into the flagship. 2 teams of 5 stormed out. First contact came fast. Shadows lunged from broken bulkheads. Soldiers in matte gray armor, weapons up, moving like professionals. No pirate chaos here. This was formation fighting. Shotguns thundered in confined space, shredding torsos into wet ruin. Blades kissed throats, blood blooming like ink in zero-G as gravity died mid-fight. They reached the data core in 6 minutes. Malik's override codes tore through locks like tissue. The door groaned open, spilling cold blue light. Hollow screens burned with maps of human space, every colony, every trade artery, every slipstream gate. Dozens of red markers pulsed like open wounds, next to each. A date, a clock counting down. Kasen stared at the schedule like a man reading his own obituary. For the first time, the iron in his voice wavered. They're not raiding, he said. They're erasing us. And then came the last wound, the one that would never heal. Pinned to the tactical board was a body, slumped in black ops armor, helmet cracked to show a face pale as ash. On his chest gleamed a seal no pirate could forge. A council sigil. Real, official, undeniable. Kasen closed the dead envoy's eyes, his own reflection hollow in the visor. Burn it all, he whispered. No one leaves this ship breathing, because the silent war had a new rule now, survive or vanish. When the colonies begged for answers, for names, for anything, the Widowmaker gave silence. The Shadow Council had made the first move, and Kasen Ashford, thought to be dead, responded in kind to what happens if humans are attacked. The galaxy would never see his face again, but it would learn to fear the Widowmaker.